Hey, this is Adam Barber with Community Recovery. I'm here with Johnathan Prosser. He's our group lead facilitator for our Friday night meeting, and he was going to tell us a little bit about his recovery story, a little bit of his testimony, and what God is doing in his life right now. So, Johnathan, good to have you.
Good. Good to be here, bud.
So, how long have you been sober now?
Be 1 year and 3 days.
1 year and 3 days. So, have you ever been in a recovery program before, or is this the first?
I've been in recovery. I've played recovery before, trying to beat charges, trying to appease people, make them take me back. But man, that's really all. This is the first time I've ever really done it for real.
Okay. Well, those other times, what's the longest that you'd ever kind of stayed sober then?
29 days.
29 days. Okay. That's pretty good, actually.
Well, I was sober inside the recovery place. Buffalo Valley, went there, and on the way home, got high.
Okay. How many times have you been to treatment then?
Once.
Once.
Other than this time, one time.
Okay. If you don't mind, could you tell us a little bit about your testimony as far as your using history, what that was like when you started?
When I started, I've started and stopped and started and stopped, different drugs. I started using drugs around the age of really hardcore, around the age of 18, 19 years old. I started with pills. They were readily available. And back then, nobody really knew anything about them. It wasn't like it is now. Even as far as getting them, people would just give them to you. You know what I mean? And I was always just looking for something to make me feel different, make me feel like I felt like I should feel. You know what I mean? Kind of like the way you feel when you get saved. But I never found it. I always was chasing it. You know what I mean? And there's certain things that you can take and it will make you feel like the life of the party, whatever. But you always end up chasing it over and over and over again, and it gets less and less, it works less and less every time you do it.
Okay. So how old are you now?
41.
41. So that's from 18 to 40 that you were using?
I didn't use as bad as the addict that I become later in life was a lot worse than what I was at then. I was just trying to numb pain that really wasn't even pain. You know what I mean? It was just my excuse to get away.
Okay. Well, I know a lot of people go through different recovery programs. Maybe they go to treatment or they just start going to meetings and they do the 28 spin dry like you just talked about. But I think there's a real misconception, especially with believers, that once you get saved, all that pain just stops, or that all that junk that we were trying to medicate, that it's just instantly gone. I mean, has it been like that for you?
Oh, no. It's all still there. But the point is, I'm not running away from it anymore. You know what I mean? I spent my whole life running. We think we're tough guys, all that nonsense. When in fact, we're probably the weakest of the herd, because when you look at what we do, we run and hide from everything. You know what I mean? I never dealt with anything. I always done drugs or put a needle in my arm, to get away from it. So, I mean, all that stuff is still there. But what's different now is I've got something behind me, pushing with me, so I'm not doing it by myself anymore. You know what I mean? I've got a great support system. I just got married. I've got a great wife. She's in recovery. You know what I mean? And I've got God. The number one thing, I hear there's probably people out there, lots of people that are doing it without God, and I'm just glad they're sober. But the likelihood that it'll take is slim to none.
Well, tell us a little bit about your life now. I mean, what you did tell us a little bit, but I mean, what are you doing now? Not just to stay sober, but you said you got married, and that you got a good support system.
Man, when I got out of the center,
is that the Hope Center?
Hope Center. which is a very good place if you want to find recovery.
Okay.
And when I got out of there, I had to make a choice. And the choice was continue walking with God or fall down that same path. You know what I mean? And the whole time I was in recovery, I was searching for the woman I'm married to, Heather. I was searching for her. I couldn't find her anywhere, and I finally found her. And you know, when we got torn apart, it was rough on me. And then at that point, I was pretty much trying to die. I mean, in all honesty, that's what I was searching for. I was just too cowardly to, you know, just go out and do it. You know what I mean? So all I done was drugs. But the thing that stopped all of that is God. I started reading His Word and really reading His Word, not just thumbing through the Bible, you know what I mean? And there's a lot of promises in there. And 3,000 of them, matter of fact. And, you know, and everything that I want to do, I place God first. Everything. Because I want it to succeed. Because Johnathan tried it by himself. I put me first for 40 years. It did not work. You know what I mean? But, yeah, man, I got married. I just received a job. I got a job at a recovery center in Nunley, Tennessee, the ranch.
Okay.
So I'm working there. You know, and I work everywhere else. That's a big coping mechanism for me.
Okay.
Work.
Okay.
I work out the stress.
Okay, that'll work. So, you know, we're a faith-based recovery group, our group.
Yes,
and
sir.
not every group is, and, you know, we understand that. But what would you say if you have a new believer, somebody that's newly saved, newly sober, and they're just, like we all are, kind of in a new world with a new set of glasses, don't know how to live? What kind of advice or direction would you give somebody like that?
Well, the first thing I would tell them is get you a sponsor. And get you a sponsor that's had some years clean. And get you one that's preferably in the faith-based type of recovery. Next thing I'd say is get in your Bible. There's always a way out. Every situation, there's a way out. The Bible gives it to us. It's a blueprint for life. You know, even the naysayers that talk about God not being real and all this, still, what does it hurt to live that way? How God told us to live. You're not doing anything but getting better. You know what I mean? And that's the number one thing. Find you a sponsor, get into a recovery group, find you a home group, get in church, and stay in that Word.
Good. That sounds like some really practical, easy to accomplish steps that anybody could do.
Make it a routine.
Okay. Well, I know you're going to continue to be part of our group. Continue to lead meetings.
Yes, sir.
And I'm sure the ranch is going to be blessed having you working there, working with some people.
I hope so. I know I'm blessed to be there.
All right. Well, God bless you, brother.
God bless you.
All right.
Love you, man.
Thank you.